Hello. I forgot that I unplugged my um, I unplugged my microphone because I was trying to type and it was getting in the way. So I thought I'll unplug this and then forgot to plug it back in. Hello, welcome on into Night Call Part 2. Hopefully we can solve a mystery. Mystery of the judge or whatever. How's it going? Happy Saturday. Hope you're continuing to have a good. I can't talk. I can't say words. They are faltering from my dumb idiot mouth. All right, we are on night 4. Played about 2.5 hours. This was on Thursday night on stream. Yesterday on YouTube. Because this video will go up on Monday. So we'll go ahead and continue. Just as a reminder, we are looking for the judge who is a serial killer. And we were just talked to by the lady who put us in this position. And she said that she'll be back with us in another 3 or 4 days. So I guess at this point we'll just play until we talk to her again and maybe see where the progress is there. The more I'm thinking about this game, the less I like it. I don't think it progresses very well. And I think that because you're a taxi driver, the chances of like hit or miss opportunities to progress the actual story are fewer and farther between than in most other games. And when it misses, you spend a lot of time reading conversations that aren't particularly interesting, and interacting with characters where you're like, well, I'd really like to just be done with this. And that unfortunately is what other point and click adventure or visual novels. That's the word. I could not think of what that was. Other visual novels do a better job at that. Not to like name names or anything, or like, I don't know. I was thinking about it and I was like, man, I don't feel like I made a lot of progress. I think it does like a good job setting things up. Pardon me. Does like a good job setting things up, but it's been kind of like meh so far. Yeah, interesting idea, but maybe not the best execution. You open one eye. Fragments of a dream are still lingering. Twin sisters were hitting on you at a bar, but every time you mentioned your work, someone dropped a glass. Then, they eventually got fed up and left. You get up quickly to forget all that. And a few minutes later, you're outside your studio. Weird. Oh, I forgot. My headset was really turned down. It does do a good job as far as the UI stuff of like, here's this thing that you can go do right now, and then if you look around for people to go pick up, if there is an important one, it'll like kind of glow. But since we're right here, we'll just go take care of this real quick. See what this is all about. From outside, the Montparnasse gun store looks like any other shop. A plane discreet from the window. What? A plane discreet from the window. The A is extra. Plane, discreet front window, sliding glass doors. That sentence sucks. But inside they sell handguns, machine guns, knives, and even grenades. It's your first time here, but you've already had its owner in your cab. The store opens really early so the patrons can come train at the shooting range. As you walk up to the counter, you hear the distant noise of gunshots under your feet. It's an unsettling experience. How can I help you? It's the owner speaking. She's an older woman with a hunched back. Her voice does not fit. She's been selling weapons since the 70s. She's cheeky in a typically Persian way, and her wrinkles carve craters across her face. God dang. Carve craters across. That is a tongue twister. Ah, it's you. It's been ages. Come, dear. You make small talk and eventually decide to go for it. I have a question for you about a weapon. You slide the photo of a shell across the counter. She looks slowly up at you. Where's the photo from? She's been doing this for years, and you doubt you can pull one over on her. Yeah, and how did you end up with police photos? On top of driving a cab? Oh, I'm a private investigator now. Chew. Chew. She cocks her head towards the outside. Although with the disruptive economy we're living in, it's not surprising you have to work 2 jobs. Give that to me. She practically rips the photo out of your hands. You give her as many details as you can. She thinks for a while. The shop door is open and a woman, probably a cop from her appearance, comes in, greets the owner, and disappears downstairs. When she opens the door, it creaks, and the smell of gunpowder spreads through the store. It's funny. This doesn't fit with what you've told me. The shell is in perfect shape. And you told me the bullets are also completely clean. But it's old ammo, you can tell. There are no scratches, but there are a few oxidization stains, and her voice grows darker all of a sudden, like something had escaped from her. In my opinion, it's from an old weapon, perfectly maintained by someone who knew what they were doing. It's probably the old man. In light of what you told me, I'd say it belonged to a cop or a soldier. It could be a family weapon. It was a police weapon in the 1970s. Either a cop held on to it or the guy you're looking for inherited it. That judge there, he's a pro. You raise your hand to meet her gaze. Head to meet her gaze. Her old bones that shift... What? Her old bones make that slight shift again. The one that could be construed as a smile. Or she, actually. You know, lots of women shoot, and I give classes if you have any lady friends who are interested. Back in your cab. You glance at the shop. You don't know how this woman knew that. Anyway, you start your taxi. You have what you need to move forward with your investigation. And a coupon for a class on shooting automatic weapons. Alright, give me 2 seconds. Okay, let's continue. I sneezed and then I was like, I really need to blow my nose. Cool. Let's see. Who do we want to talk to? We spent some time. Probably gonna get it. You know what? Let's just go talk to this person. They are highlighted for us. The passenger who entered your cab slams the door and stares at you intently. Good evening. Are you kidding? That's where you want this to start? I'm not sure I follow. A small laugh escapes her. Naturally. But of course, if I were to say to you, her voice is slightly raspy with an odd metallic sound. October 27th? I don't know what you're talking about, ma'am. That's the date. The night of the attack. The night you... Could this woman be the judge? 10:46 p.m. No. The attack took place later. Does that ring a bell? You nod your head. Yes, it does, miss. Don't you miss me. Not another word. She waggles an accusing finger at you. Last October 27th, you were in this very cab, driving a fare, and you committed a crime. That's right, sir. A crime. Alright, Karen, I need you to get the fuck out of my cab. I'd spend my whole day working like an idiot for that rotten newspaper. What in the hell are you talking about? Do you have any idea what I do for a living? No. Town crier? She heaves a sigh. Very funny. Absolutely hilarious. Her voice is increasingly aggressive. You can feel the anger bubbling inside her. I'm a sub-editor, Mr. Taxi driver. I correct mistakes that a bunch of moron journalists make. There isn't a single one, not one, who knows how to write a proper sentence. I had it. I'd had it. Really had it. And on the night of October 27th, you cut me off. I almost died that night. She grinds her teeth. You shudder. I crashed my car. My boyfriend's car, that is. Same guy who made yet another comment about women drivers. Alright, hang on. Time out. One, it's not my fault that you have a shitty sexist boyfriend. Okay, alright. Just chill. The neighbors called the police that night. I made such a scene. To think the guy dares call himself a feminist. She pauses for dramatic effect as a disturbing smile spreads over her face. Her voice is suddenly noticeably quieter, almost fragile. The next day. No more boyfriend. No more car. I messed up a job interview with a major news outlet, a paper where people know how to write, where they follow basic rules of French grammar. Imagine, for just a minute, I could have stopped correcting copy for a bunch of morons. She takes a deep breath. But all because of you, because of your cab, because of your cab, everything changed the night of October 27th. A sad, faraway look comes over her. My life has never been the same since. But her voice is bursting with fury and hatred. Forced to go live with my mother while I went apartment hunting in this rotten city where a tiny studio costs an arm and a leg. So, I started looking for you. The back of your neck breaks into a sweat. You can feel cold, clammy droplets about to drip down your spine. I started asking around. I bribed one of your colleagues into giving me your number. A droplet of sweat starts sliding down your back. Then, I found your address. The first one, that is. You shiver as the drop reaches your boxers. What? But that's your business. What matters is I did eventually get your other address. The real one. The droplet has reached your tailbone. You've started shaking. At first, I admit, I was planning on going to your place. She shrugs her shoulders. Her voice is softened a little. Just maybe to spit in your face or something like that. Then I thought to myself, no, Ludovine, maybe this guy deserves a chance. You never know. So, you're going to apologize. Go on, give it your all. Take your time, take a deep breath. She breathes in deeply and then exhales. Like that. Ask her to leave the taxi. Look, I have other things to deal with, not just an accident that happened months ago. The woman in the backseat tilts her head almost imperceptibly, like a cat ready to pounce. You don't know who I am, and frankly, I don't care. I want to do my job, to mind my own business. Get out of my cab. She grinds her teeth. This is what you're going to do. She's in control, holding back, trying to contain her feelings. I'm going to get out of this cab and disappear into the night. She's staring at you intently, her eyes boring into your body inch by inch. Just between you and me, I hope you've got good insurance for this jalopy. Because one day, you're going to wake up and you won't have any tires left, or your windshield. Maybe you won't have a car at all. She opens the door and exits the cab with the same energy as when she got in. Are you threatening me? She doesn't hear you, or she's ignoring you. You unfasten your seatbelt and get out of the car. She's vanished into thin air. You sense a movement behind you. Your heart leaps into your mouth. You turn around. It's a jogger, dressed for a polar expedition. He passes by without even seeing you. You hear the music in his headphones. It sounds like Gregorian chants. Your heart is pounding. You climb back into the car, slam the door shut, and take a moment to catch your breath. You're alone in the taxi, your head spinning slightly as if you'd had a drink. Just one, but something really strong. You briefly try to remember that night. Nothing. Nothing but the vague impression of someone behind you. The killer's silhouette, a fleeting presence. You shake your head. There's nothing more than before. If only you had turned around, everything would have been easier. If you had seen the face of... All at once, you start the cab. Okay. Bunch of fares popping in, and now I didn't get to go see that because that lady interrupted me. Cool. Thank you, ma'am. I see that you, So what does it mean if they're... These are kind of like lit up, and these are like not. There's nothing quite like accusing someone of something that they clearly are like, I don't know what you're talking about. Latin Quarter, please. You park your taxi in front of a very nice building. A few seconds go by, and a frail figure comes out of this big cast iron door and over to the car. A boy, 10 years old at most, gets into the back seat. A little early for school, isn't it? Or what exactly brings you here? What exactly brings you here? I'm going to Mass, St. Julian de Provaux Church. He is serious and determined as he holds your gaze in the rearview mirror. You start driving. His determination wavers. You know where it is? You smile. No worries. I know where it is. Aren't you a little young to be going to Mass so early in the morning? No answer. Do you go to the early Mass often? Not really, but it's the best Mass. Is that so? The boy is fidgeting in his seat. The websites I looked at said it was the best one. You've never been? No, not yet. I wanted to make sure I choose the best one, so I looked online. You can tell he's uncomfortable. He seems to be getting more and more nervous. I'm going for my mom. Your mom? She's sick. Since my dad died, she just cries all the time. He stares at you in the rearview mirror. Sorry to hear that. Sorry, I lost my dad too. How old were you? A little older than you. Did you go to Mass? You refrained yourself from laughing. No, I didn't go to Mass. Not even to Muslim Mass? Alright. Idiot. No. Not even. I didn't need to. He thinks for a minute. My mom, she needs it. She says she can't understand why God did this. So, I looked up where the best Mass in Paris is so I can go ask God. If the internet says it's the best. I think the Mass is given in Greek, and that's why it's the best in Paris. I don't really know why. Does it mean God speaks Greek? No idea. I don't know why, but I thought taxi drivers knew everything. About the city? About the city they work in? Yeah. But about God? You pull up in front of the church. Thank you, sir. I'd better hurry. It's about to start. Good luck in there. He smiles. He has trouble opening the car door. Not really sure it's luck I need. I'm going to pray. I don't think it's about luck at all. You watch him get out of the car and walk up to the church. He goes in alone, walking with intent. A few lone churchgoers are wandering about. Okay. Okay, so I didn't really do anything. We can go over here, though. We'll go see this guy. Also, fun story. 202,000 gamer score. Hell yeah. You rub your eyes. You rub your heavy eyes. Fatigue, stress, you wish something, something. I need a ride, cabbie. The door opens. It's Suave. He greets you with his bizarre verbal tick, as usual. Good to see you again, Ken. Hi, Herf. You start the engine. Pretty cold tonight, right? His voice has a peculiar lilt to it, as if certain syllables were sung to stop him from stuttering. What the hell? His voice has a peculiar lilt to it, as if certain syllables were sung to stop him from stuttering. Alright. Hey, aren't you cold with your ass stuck out of that car seat of yours? No, I'm fine. Well, enjoy, baby. Boy. Well then, enjoy, boy. I've got a place to stay in Passaic. Anyway, you can give me a lift? Sure, of course. Great, mate. That way we stay nice and warm. In the 15 years I've been on the street, it's never been this cold, I swear. You know some guys aren't going to make it. Shit. That's how it goes. For us, yes. A pause. His smell gradually permeating... whatever. His smell is gradually blanking the inside of the cab. Doesn't bring back fond memories, but it doesn't bother you either. You'll leave the door open later on to air out the cab. But you know, I'm used to it, even before, sure. I don't think I ever told you when I was a kid, I was never cold. Never. A weird, uneasy break. One time my mother dragged me to the... Jesus. The Preakness during vacation. Didn't know what the hell to do with me. Liked to drink, you see. And the first night we were there, I broke a bottle of gin she'd brought along. Should have seen her. She threw a fit, shit. She gave me a thrashing, but I gave as good as I got. That's how we used to talk back then. She ended up dragging me by my pants and locking me out on the balcony. Icicles were hanging from the eaves. It had snowed the day before, sure. I sat there for an hour, arms crossed, with like a cardigan on my back, and underpants on my ass. I didn't budge. She was storming around the apartment, my old lady was, yelling at me, but I didn't hear nothing. And well, the cold didn't get to me, see? Felt nothing at all, nah. Wish I could say the same today. What happened in the end? Well, it got dark out. She let me in, did? She was furious all week. It was the last time we went on vacation together. After that, she died, number up. Yep. A pause. I used to tell my buddy Seb that story all the time. You know, the tall black guy who used to hang around with me? Yeah. Well, he really loved that story. He asked me to tell it to him over and over again. But I think what he really loved was hearing me talk about my old lady. You know what I mean? Doesn't make us any younger. Hey. The cab pulls up to the shelter in Passaic. Passaic? Fuck. Last time I was here, there was a protest out front. A bunch of guys from the neighborhood who didn't want us to squat the place. They were yelling their heads off. Sounded like a bunch of goddamn sailors. Yeah, sailors. So, I guess even those rich dudes have balls. He exits the cab. Thanks, man. I know I can count on you. Good luck. He rubs his hand together and walks towards the shelter. I think the best thing that this game could do is speed up the time a little bit. Go over here, I guess. There's not really a whole lot else that I can do to like push things forward. I have my controller plugged in so that it doesn't disconnect like it did a couple times last time. What is that word? Arn descendant? You pull up to an opulent-looking building. It must be an embassy, given the neighborhood. A woman hastens into the cab, dragging a little boy behind her. Clearly she is angry, whereas her son is smiling faintly, as if proud of some naughty trick he just pulled. She gives you an address and you start the cab. A dead silence ensues. A few streets later, the woman explodes. I still can't believe it. She's furious. It's unbelievable. She's really pissed. Unbelievable. She's losing it. How dare you do that to us? To me and your father. How dare you? The child doesn't say anything. Do you realize what you did, Hyoga? Do you realize everything we do for you? All the sacrifices we make, all the money we spend, all the time we spend getting you to those activities of yours? We are bleeding ourselves dry so you can get an excellent education. And you go around biting your classmates. The child wakes up, as if on cue. Oh! Stop it. Stop it this minute. I'm a werewolf. No, you are not. You are a young boy. That's right. A young werewolf. It's not funny. Your little game doesn't amuse me one bit. And where in the world did you pick up all this nonsense, huh? A video game? Is that it? Or a movie? Silence. Answer me, child. A movie? I knew it. And where did you see that movie? Silence. Answer me when I speak to you. At Polly Mail's. Polly Mail's house? She makes a small sound in the back of her throat, full of scorn and contempt. I'm not surprised. His parents are in the middle of a divorce. Oh, jeez. All right. Oh. Polly Mail is my friend. He is not. Not anymore. You won't be seeing him again, for that matter. Oh. Please stop making that animal sound, will you? I'm not an animal. I'm a werewolf. The cab has left the fancy neighborhoods behind and is entering in a more working-class part of Paris. No, you need to make friends with someone more interesting than that little shit. Polly Mail. The Iranian ambassador's son, for example. You know, his name is Kava. Yes, right. The kid you bit so hard he bled. When you're over all this, we'll invite him over. I'm sure he's an interesting child and well-behaved. The little boy starts to laugh. What's so funny? The child doesn't answer. Then stop laughing like that all the time. You look like a moron. I'm laughing because Kava is a werewolf too. Now what are you talking about? You know, I bit him, so he's going to turn into a werewolf. Oh, God, this child sucks. Your passenger is shaking with anger. She yells at her son. You stop right now. Quotation marks that I don't think are supposed to be there. You are 5 years old. You're not a baby anymore. When your father gets back from New York, he's going to have something to say about all this. You'll see. Say nothing. I don't care. Your father hates it when you take movies for reality. Okay. So, Alice, just want to throw out something here for you. Children, until they are like 8 or 9 years old, cannot actually distinguish reality from fantasy. They don't get it. He's going to punish you, and then we'll all be punished because he'll be in a bad mood. You pull up to the address the passenger had given. She hands you the fare without so much as a look. If your grandmother finds out about all this, she's going to be unhappy. Very, very unhappy. She takes the change. Thank you. Say thank you to the driver, werewolf. The boy gives a little laugh and says, Goodbye, driver. Oh, God. His mother rolls her eyes. Say nothing. She gives her son's arm a good yank. Come on, let's go. They exit the cab and walk away. The little boy looks back and bares his fangs. I'm going to ignore him. You start the cab. Oh, cool. A 13 cent tip. Cool. It's very appreciated. Whatever would I do without those 13 cents? Go over here. See, that's one of the ones where, like, you click on it and there wasn't anything else to do. Like, it didn't seem like there was much of a way to, like, improve the story. And so it's kind of hit or miss on who you select. And that was a miss. St. Tuan, please. You recognize the young woman getting in your taxi. The young movie buff who can't stop moving, talking, thinking. She glances up, recognizes you, and claps her hands together excitedly. You start driving. How's your evening going? You are surprised by the passenger's bright disposition. She is cheerful, positive, but you can tell something's not quite right. It's going. Wonderfully, wonderful. She shrugs. You see a troubled look in her eye. How about you? It's, the movie I just saw really got to me. She lowers her eyes. Not the movie exactly. It's not really about the movie, actually. You know, when you read a book for school and you think it's really boring, but then, like, bit by bit, the book slowly seeps into your brain and turns your world upside down? She clearly hopes to get a reaction out of you. Yeah, I know what you mean. She grins at you. Ah, see, I knew I wasn't the only one. Anyway, I just saw this movie. She pauses and looks down. What movie did she see? Okay, I saw 4 movies today, but this one really got to me, even though it's super old. Oh, it's gonna be fucking Citizen Kane or some bullshit like that. See, the main character is investigating this crime, and the world is overpopulated. In a softer voice, she adds, Shit, I sound like my social studies teacher. So it's gotten really hard to stay alive and all. And then this guy discovers that the weird food everyone's been eating, well, it's people. They're recycling people. I don't really know why, but it really freaked me out. I'm not saying that we eat people, right? Just that, well, it makes you think. Do we really want to put kids in this world if they might have to eat each other? Her eyes tear up. She looks outside and remains silent for a moment. Was it a good movie? Well, yeah, but it was depressing. It made me not want to have kids. Making babies that'll eat old people seems less than ideal. Or maybe I'm just exaggerating in the future and we'll have found a solution to world hunger. Lol. Good one. That's a good joke. Because everybody who has money that actually could bother to do something doesn't bother to do anything because they're selfish, worthless pieces of shit. Her voice sounds cheerful again. Some laser that makes veggies and fruit bigger. There'll be strawberries the size of your taxi and we'll invite our friends over to eat fries the size of mattresses. She burst out laughing. That'd be insane. Like huge oil freighters filled to the brim with gigantic blueberries. Honestly, in a future like that, I'd totally have kids. Her level of excitement suddenly drops. She turns her focus outside. Silence fills the cab. You drive the rest of the way in silence. You can tell the young woman wants nothing more than to get out of the taxi. You finally pull up in front of her place. Well, thanks. She pays her fare and gets out. The young woman disappears into the lobby of her building. You wait a few seconds and then drive away. Why are people not tipping their cab drivers? Here we go. Drive all the way down. So I specifically picked her because I recognized her. There wasn't anything else to do. Also, that was not Citizen Kane. Though I was pretty sure it was going to be. Oh, I might not get there. Nope, I didn't get there. I met Ludovine. That didn't go well. Things didn't go so well. Okay, that sounds right. I met Alaric. Told him about my father. Met Alice and Hoyoga. Hoyoga? Oops. Oops, oops, oops. Oops, oops, oops. Take a few minutes to update your board with the new clues. Your neighbor flushes the toilet. Out of the corner eye, you can see the pipe shake. Crack your knuckles and get to work. You go, bam, and you go, I'm going to solve a murder. Police reports. 2 locations discovered. Weapon, police in the 70s. We'll move that. Okay, so the one thing I was curious about when I was thinking about this game was, do I need to be doing more with these clues and like actually linking them to people or something like that? Looks like it does that with the information that you get. I'm thinking, I think it's this dude. Because if okay, so he's 1.69 m. It's obviously under the 180. He's a retired cop, joined the police in 1977. Divorced from a judge. Moved to mainland France in 1976. I don't know why killer wearing black gloves matches. Unless it matches for everybody. Cop in Paris. Dad was a financial killer. So is that it? And just review the evidence, I guess. Message on crime scene linked to the process. Time is up. Alright, well, I don't think there's anything else I can do. With a heavy hand, you wipe your tired face. Lie down on the sofa bed. Its frame creaks. The events of the day run through your head. The streets, the passengers, their faces, their problems. You open one eye. It's pitch black outside. Time for work. You get up quickly. A few minutes later, outside your studio. Night 5. So I think we have 2 more nights, and then the detective will come talk to us again. We have 2 more locations that we can go to. So let's see if there's anybody. There's no one given that glow. 240-somethings are smoking a cigarette on the sidewalk. something overtime. The woman getting in your taxi does not look like she's at her best. Mouth lolling open, eyes unfocused, out of breath. She looks like she's been punched in the gut. Or she saw a ghost. She struggles to take her backpack off and makes several attempts. The strap gets caught in the buckle on her overalls. She sighs and gets annoyed. During this whole process, she doesn't look up at you once. She takes a deep breath. Place de fatesse. Her voice is emotionless. More than a trickle than a voice, coming out of a childish body. It sounds like every bit of energy she had. What? It sounds like it took every bit of energy she had to get those words out. She takes her phone out of her bag, hesitates, and starts swiping left to right, and right to left. She's completely absorbed. You think you can make out the reflection of the colorful mobile game in her glasses. Silence settles heavily into the cab. It is broken occasionally by something that sounds like a hiccup, or is it a repressed sob? At a red light, she raises her head and lowers it the second your gaze crosses yours in the rearview mirror. Something about her makes you feel like you've got something caught in your throat. Rough night? She looks up, surprised you broke into her bubble. Her gaze darkens a bit more. Yeah, you might say so. She's not crying, not shaking, just the occasional spasm. A few seconds go by. You attempt to focus on the road, but despite both of your efforts to pretend nothing is wrong, her emotions invade the cab. She finally takes the plunge, like she's jumping off a cliff. Can I talk to you? She's still the same trickle of a voice and great lengths taken to control it. I'm sorry, it's stupid, but I think I need someone to talk to. I'm listening. She takes a deep breath. I need to say it out loud. You stay silent. You sense she needs you to be silent. A guy touched me in that bar. Okay, well, that would... Her voice is twisted like a nearly empty tube of toothpaste. Tears collect in her eyes. This game is written in a weird way where it constantly does like a blankety blank blank. It's a very it's almost Star Trekian sort of thing where they explain something and then they re-explain it so that you know what they're trying to get at. Because they don't trust that it makes sense. You feel really heavy. Remain silent. She starts talking again. Her tone is slightly different. She sounds more confident. Like saying those words out loud made her feel a bit more alive again. Or like she wanted to be stronger. He came up behind me, touched me. Way too much. Her voice breaks over the last few syllables. The silence in the cab absorbs everything, even the noise of traffic. You don't even hear the ambulance going by, lights flashing. I want to talk about it, but I also don't really know what to say. Do you want to file a report? I don't think so. I don't have much of anything concrete to report. I don't really feel like going to the police station. I don't want to sit under those fluorescent lights, answer questions. I just want a warm blanket, a cup of hot chocolate, and my mom. She tries to smile but gets choked up and lets out a painful sob. It took me way too long to understand what was happening. Way too long. I didn't get it. I was petrified. She looks about 30 years old maybe, or not far off from 30, but you get the impression that you're driving a little girl who just had her innocence stolen. 1 minute, I was standing there in a crowd. The Furiosa is like my second home. I always go there to hang out with friends because they all live in the neighborhood and our places are too small. She takes a breath. You follow suit unconsciously. Everything was fine. There was a concert. I was happy. I had a bit to drink, but not too much. It was packed, but the music was sweet. It was a good night. I was having a good night. Another breath. You know what it's like when you're packed into a crowd, like sardines? You don't really know who's touching you, but that's just the way crowds are. The way she lays her telephone on the seat and leans forward, elbows on her knees and her head in her hands. What? She lays her phone. I think I read that wrong. She lays her telephone on the seat and leans forward, elbows on her knees, head in her hands. Her backpack falls to the floor. She doesn't make the slightest move to pick it up. I didn't get it. Fuck, why didn't I get it? I didn't even react. She stares at you. Why didn't I react? There should be another option here it takes people moments to realize what's happening. It's super easy to look back, and hindsight is 20/20, and go like, wait, that was fucked up. But in the moment, you're like trying to decipher all this shit that's happening at once. She leans ever so gently towards you. Sir, you know what? You're right. For the first time since you sat down in your cab, you feel a sense of relief. I can drop you off at the station. You stop to think for a second. I can even wait with you if you'd like. She leans over to you. I'd do the same if I were you. And I'm sincerely grateful. But no, not tonight. I just can't bring myself to do it. She grabs her bag and sits up, suddenly more outspoken. You know, you read the story about the woman who'd been assaulted. You say to yourself, okay, got it. If it happens to me, I'll rip his head off, scream, make a scene, hit him. He won't get away with it. You convince yourself you're stronger than them. Let you know how to protect yourself. You stand up for yourself. She pauses, barely. It's hard to bear. I'm so angry with myself. I didn't do anything. I just stood there, frozen. Like a fucking idiot. Everyone was totally entranced in the concert. They were dancing, drinking, laughing, screaming, and I was frozen. It was like a wave of ice had washed over me. Everything around just collapsed. It was like I was stuck inside my own body. All I could feel were his fingers worming their way in. I don't even know how long it lasted. I was disconnected. I let him do it. Her last words hang in the air and work their way into your thoughts. You become aware of your sweaty hands on the steering wheel. She pauses, starts talking again. A part of me froze on the spot. Another part was screaming inside. At one point, the crowd shifted. There was a bit of a rush or something. That's when my brain started to function again, like someone flipped a switch. I wanted to turn around, but his hand disappeared. I couldn't see who it was, and I just stood there like an idiot. All that was left was A normal gathering of normal people. Who does that? I mean, really, who does that? I ran over to the bar. I don't even know how I got there. I couldn't feel my legs. My friends were still waiting for their beers. I burst into tears. A brief pause, just enough to open her eyes wide. I think the worst part was that my friends made fun of me. Jesus Christ, they're not your friends, Bernice. They saw me walk up in tears. I did my best to explain what happened, and they thought it was hilarious. Oh, come on, Bernice, they said. Calm down. It's no big deal. Relax. Only... Oh, okay, that makes more sense. Only my guy friends were there tonight. Alright, cool. Yep. They're not bad guys, you know. They're just not always so bright. I usually get along better with guys. But I really wished one of the girls had been there. Hearing them laugh was so harsh. When it happened, I didn't really know what to say. I mean, maybe they're right. Maybe it was no big deal. She pauses and looks away. No, it's a big deal. I should never have gone to that concert. She loses herself in thought. You wonder how you would react. You would have reacted if something like that happened to you. You try to remember how you did react. I went outside, walked around a bit. They didn't even text me or anything. That's not normal. No. Nothing about tonight is normal. Nothing. I just wish I could make it all go away. That scares the shit out of me. How it's so definitive, permanent, unavoidable. I already know it will hang over me my whole life. How I wish I could make it all go away, turn back time. Like a video game, F5, F6, save, quit, quick load. Or quick save, quick load. Swish. You erase your mistakes. A moment of absence, some horrible thing happened, over and done. You know, just what she's talking about. The feeling that suddenly in 1 second, a split second, your fate is changed forever. And there's no going back. You expected to see a day's face in the rearview mirror. Have you ever done anything like that, sir? I beg your pardon? Have you ever hurt anyone? Any women? She asks the question again, like she thinks you might not have heard it the first time. It's not as simple as that. Your passenger breathes in. You can hear her leaning in, looking for an answer. I don't know. Indeed, you don't know. Images and sounds come to mind in flashes. People suddenly staring. Faces whose expressions shift in barely noticeable ways. Voices that no longer speak. The sour smell of sweat, the touch of skin that is suddenly chilled. Is it possible that each time you blink, you brush off a new image? You speak up again with a half smile that's supposed to be reassuring. Yeah, I probably have hurt women before. But not like that. I'm trying to understand. And you see, I'm skeptical. Sorry. Thinking about my friends, the way they reacted. In what way is this no big deal? Why exactly should I calm down? If they think I need to calm down, they must think that kind of behavior is normal. That normal people do that kind of thing. I'm sure they've got friends, a job. I mean, they're not guys who look like serial killers that just escaped from the loony bin. I will never set foot in that bar again. Ever. You're getting closer to your destination. Her voice sounds far away. Drop me off at the light. I need to walk a bit. You pull over. She's shaking. It's like you're in slow motion. I'm sorry for all of that. You mutter something incomprehensible. Actually, you don't really know what you wanted to say anyway. She pays her fare and walks off without a word. You close your eyes for a long while before turning the key in the ignition. Okay. Way far away from people here. I should probably... Oops. Hopefully, as long as she goes west, we'll be okay. We'll be okay. Ooh, perfect. The passenger who enters your cab seems familiar to you. She gives you her address and you start to drive. You glance back at her from time to time, trying to remember where you've seen her before. It's no use. Suddenly, she gives you a little pout, clearly annoyed by your incessant gaze. Sorry, your face seems familiar to me. She breathes an audible sigh. Could be. She pauses deliberately. I'm in porn. Alright, yep. That's who she is, an actress. Yeah. A former actress. You'd seen her in a couple of movies a few years ago. It's probably why you recognize my face. Your mouth suddenly goes dry. You're rock hard. Her eyes and voice show no sign of emotion whatsoever. She might as well have said that she were a teacher or a dentist. Oh. Does it shock you? No, I just didn't expect it. That's why your face looks familiar to me. I've been spanking it to your videos for years. Probably. Do you watch a lot of porn? You shake your head no, even before the attack. No, not that much. What? Okay. Either way, you're pretty rare, or you're lying. I'm just busy these days. She leans forward. By the way, did you like that kind of porn? I'm just asking because I'm curious what people like to watch. It's really not my thing. Oh, it's okay to talk about it, you know. Tell the truth. It's true. I hardly watch any. Hardly any. Yeah. You blush slightly. Come on, there's nothing to be ashamed of. Do you prefer younger women, older women? Alright, fine. Do you watch movies? Do you read magazines? Yeah, magazines. Magazines. But you don't... But don't you... You know it's not the Middle Ages anymore? She smiles. Thanks anyway, and sorry for all the personal questions. You can't help reading it in her eyes. A touch of satisfaction. Did you really... A touch of satisfaction. Good one. As if she'd enjoyed asking you all those questions. She got, I guess you would say she got some kind of pleasure out of it. Before long, you arrive at the address your passenger had given you. You have trouble parking. None of the street lights are working. There's nothing stranger than an unlit Persidian street in the middle of the night. Your client gives a slight cough behind you. You wouldn't mind. Oh my god. You wouldn't mind staying here until I'm in the building. They're doing work. The lights aren't working. She doesn't even finish her sentence. No problem. Thanks, I have to say, I've been feeling a little insecure lately. All of her energy suddenly seems to have vanished. She hesitates for a moment as if she can feel your connection with the killer before speaking. I knew one of the victims of the serial killer. Nathaniel. Nathalie? I knew her pretty well, in fact. We'd worked together, and sometimes she babysat my son. You know, she was a great girl. She starts talking about her friend. Who she was, who she had been seeing, how she had changed just before she died. You make a mental note of the new information. I'll stay here until you're in the building, okay? Thank you. Before she hands you the fare and exits the cab slowly. Oh, she hands you the fare and exits the cab slowly, crossing the street in total darkness to the door of her building. You remember that night. The pain, the stab of the knife in your side. If only you had turned your head, you would have seen your assailant's face. Maybe they would have killed you that night. Maybe your attacker would have already spotted you in your cab. Your passenger waves back at you as the building door closes. You wave back. Fear spreads slowly through your body. You breathe in slowly and drive away. Okay. So now we will... we'll go up here. I will cough again, because that's great. My throat has just given up, apparently. You leave your taxi behind and walk towards the last victim's building. Charles Bourgain was killed in his parking garage. The large metal door is firmly closed. On your left, there's a shady corner where you can discreetly keep an eye on the door without being seen. You grin and bear it. From time to time, you jump in place to warm yourself up. Your hiding place is probably the same one the killer used a few weeks ago. With each passing minute, you sense his presence until the garage door starts to shake. The metal slats start to rise. A car suddenly bursts out of the garage. You take the opportunity to slip inside. Your eyes take a few seconds to adjust to the darkness. You head down the ramp into the garage. There are about 30 spots, and almost all of them are full. The cars are very nice. Sedans, convertibles, a bright red sports car. You're in a wealthy neighborhood. According to the police report, Charles was murdered right here in this empty parking spot. He used to be a notorious leader of the right-wing extremist party. When he was murdered at age 84, long after retiring from politics, it was a surprise for everyone. Some would probably argue a nice surprise. Just imagine in the paper, right-wing extremist dies. No one mourns because their right-wing extremists are fucking assholes. You light up the crime scene with the flashlight on your phone. There's still a brown stain on the wall. A brown stain on the wall in front of you. The message written in chalk has been washed off. A voice rings out in the garage. Hey, what are you doing? This is private property. You turn around and see a rather elderly man, probably the concierge. He shines his flashlight in your direction. I'm lost. Lost? You think I'm a fucking idiot? Go. Get out of here, I'm calling the cops. You walk back up the ramp towards the exit. The concierge opens the garage door. You step outside, and as you step outside, you hear the concierge say, "If I see you lurking around again, I'm calling the cops." I don't know why you would sound New Yorkish and prance, but here we are. You make your way back to your cab. You glance back at the building. A furious concierge is gone. You settle in behind the wheel, short of breath. Okay, so I don't think we really learned anything there, but that's alright. Let's see. Anybody? Go over here. A woman is walking your dog, an enormous greyhound with a long, pale coat. She doesn't so much as glance at you. The police archives look like any other building in Paris. No sign, nothing made it stand out, but this is where all the case files and criminal records are stored. You know the place well. For several months, you spent a lot of time with the woman who directs it. She was a regular passenger, calling upon you almost every night. First as a driver, and then you can see her shape from across the street. You try to prevent your brain from going there, but it has a mind of its own. She's as beautiful as ever. You get out of the cab. Cross over the sidewalk on the other side. Oh, it's Helene. I'm not going to lie. I was surprised by your request. She lights a cigarette. She still has that cold, distant look about her. But you know it's just a facade. You don't smoke anymore? You light a cigarette. First waft of nicotine and gas from the lighter. Heaven. She runs a hand through a hand through her hair. Her wedding band shines under the street lamp. You're freezing. Listen. I'm sure you know I'm not allowed to give you this kind of information. But if what you said was true, then you get the impression she's reaching for your side. Let her do it. Her hand brushes over your wound. You think about her body, her habits, how she used to call you in the middle of the night. I fished around, and the first 3 victims were not part of the data leak. I don't know what this means. Shit. Shit indeed. That means the information about Besson, Borgian, and the Argentinian one. Gorderstreiger. Yes, that's it. It all came from someone who had access to their criminal records. That help? I'm gonna go with no. You nod. Bits of ash from your cigarette sparkle onto your pants. You attempt to smile. Yes, it's better than nothing. Moment of silence. Helene takes a drag of her cigarette like there's no tomorrow. She paces a bit to warm herself up. You should come over sometime. What do you think? You grin. You and Helene. You used to sleep together when things with her husband weren't so good. Oh man, there's drama. Yep. Yeah, why not? Just let me finish all this. Yes, of course. Give me a call when all this is over. She looks deep into your eyes. You look down. Her hands are still shaking. One last smile as she puts her cigarette out. You do the same. I've got to run. Need a taxi? It's very kind of you, but Bruno is coming to pick me up in a little while. Good luck. She reaches out to you affectionately, then stops. You decide to cross the street to put some distance between you as quickly as possible. When you get out of your cab, you hear her say something. She's yelling from across the street. Also, you should stop smoking. It's bad for your health. You wave. She goes back into the archives. Get your cab together. You get in your cab and rub your hands together. Time to get back to your shift. Oh, okay. Thought I hit the A button, but I apparently did not. We can go see her again. Should keep an eye out for the lady who wants to file the police report. Yeah, let's go see her. St. Twin, please. You recognize the young woman getting into your taxi. It's the young movie buff who can't stop moving, talking, thinking. She glances up, recognizes you, and claps her hands together excitedly. You start driving. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm going out of my mind. What's going on? No, I just saw this movie. She takes a deep breath. This one was life-changing. She exhales audibly, like she's just revealed a terrible secret. I'm telling you, it knocked me on my ass. Incredible. First off, it was old, so I thought I wouldn't really be able to get into it, but from the minute it starts, you can tell there's something sketchy going on. It's not your typical movie. The main character is played by that heartthrob you saw in the movies those days. He has a Danish name or something like that. She waves her hand around. Anyway, the guy's in high school, even though he's clearly like 25, but it's always like that in American movies. He's in high school and he doesn't feel well, you know? He's like squinting and bent all over and all. At first, I thought he looked kind of stupid like that, but It's obvious he's not 17, but then all of a sudden, bam, she pounds her fist into her open hand. I get it. It's me. I mean, he reminds me, of me when I was in high school. She lets her last sentence hang in the air for a second and seems to be calming down. Her voice is slower, softer. Sky isn't doing well. He's seeing a shrink, but his parents and his sister are on his ass all the time. He doesn't know what to do with his life. He's totally lost. Then there's a disaster. This crazy thing happens. You found out he did it, or... What? You found out he did it. Him or the giant bunny that follows him everywhere. What the fuck is this movie? She literally jumps from her seat when she says the last part. A giant rabbit? Yeah, okay, it's actually a dude with a rabbit mask and a big floppy ears like this. Silence. I know, it's weird. I was sitting there wide-eyed telling myself I must be dreaming, but there really was a giant rabbit standing there next to him. And not a nice bunny, if you get my drift. It's out to get people. To get back at anyone it doesn't like. Your passenger taps her hands together. Story of my life, dude. I'm telling you. Story of my life. Okay, without the giant rabbit part. But that could have been me up there on screen. My parents can't stand my passion for film. They want me to study something serious. They say they haven't been busting their backs all their life for me to be dependent on them. She clicks her tongue and rolls her eyes. Yeah, right. Like we have enough money for me to keep living off them. Boom, fucking roasted. My little sister looks at me like I'm an idiot. What? My sister looks at me like I'm a redacted. Like I'm a dum-dum? I don't know. And yet she spends all day, every day, watching mind-numbing sitcoms about losers on vacation. She sinks into the back seat. Whenever I go home, no one, is the least bit interested in what I do, who I am, what I like. Not a soul to ask me what I saw and if I liked it or not. So, the main character hesitates and makes the wrong choice. He goes for revenge. See, the bunny, it's his conscience. She pauses, looks outside. It's our collective conscience, I'm not perfect, but I don't steal. I'm not, man, I don't know, like something like that could really happen, because you never know, right? I'm not perfect. No one is. Someone's got to tell that giant rabbit. If the giant rabbit kills it, if he's seeking revenge, well, it's kind of our fault that we were too stupid to see we're not worth much, right? See what I mean? No. Sorry. Actually, me neither. She looks at you and bursts out laughing. In any case, the movie blew my mind. Maybe I don't actually understand it. But damn, it did send me some good... What? But damn, did it sound good? Do you think that makes me crazy? No. It's just a movie, and you get what you want out of it. Well, yes and no. She looks at you, filled with doubt. Otherwise, people could just throw whatever the hell they want on the screen, and it would do, right? To be fair, people do just throw whatever the hell they want on screen, and just are like, here you go. The guy who made the movie, he must have spent so much time writing and making that film. And here I go thinking it means something totally different. How awful. That means he just lost control of it. Completely. She opens her eyes wide, like she's surprised at the thought. Fuck, man. That's gotta suck balls. You're at some festival and some young thing comes to say, I loved your movie and how it addressed the challenges of the teen years. And you're like, no, my movie was about mental illness? The nerve. She pauses. You pull up in front of her place. She doesn't even notice and seems lost in thought. Or maybe not. Maybe that's actually what's cool about it. Abruptly, just like she woke up, she hands you a bill to pay for her fare. She stares at you intently for a few seconds. You must think I'm totally nuts, huh? No. That's nice of you to say. She takes a second to think and shrugs her shoulders. I think I could care less. I complain and all, but if that's the price to pay for not being a total idiot, I'm happy to pay it. She looks up at her building. Okay, here goes. Wish me luck. She hops out of the cab and disappears. We are going to be out of time today. Which is fine, because I don't think there's really anything else to do. Maybe I can, like, get to the gas station or something. Group of teens runs in front of a kebab joint. Kebab. You walk into the mini mart. The guy behind the counter looks at you. Looks like all the other guys behind the counters you've come across in your lifetime. Hello. Let's see. Talk with the clerk. I was wondering. You immediately bring up the serial killer. The cashier looks up, obviously excited by the topic. Have a good evening. The cold welcomes you outside and you quickly forget the clerk's unpleasant tone. Get in your taxi, drive away. Alright. Shoot, we're not going to be able to make it there. Maybe we are. There we go. I need a ride, cabbie. The door opens. It's Irv. He greets you with his bizarre verbal tick as usual. Hey, good to see you again. Hi, Irv. You start the engine. The passenger in the back seat is whistling a funny tune. He's in a pretty good mood. You look good? Yeah, thanks. Some days are like that. Everything goes your way. Hey. Your belly is full, your body aches are around to help you, you're not cold. He gives you a smile. And then, you know, you get good news. Oh, really? Really? Something you're glad to hear. That's what good news is. Thank you, though. Well, out with it then. Well, it's my ex-wife. She just got married again, and a real love story and all that. Just the way I like them. You're not jealous? Jealous? He shrugs. I don't believe in being jealous. Being jealous is for jerks, alright? She's happy and I'm happy too. So why beat yourself up over being jealous? In the rearview mirror, your passenger's face clouds over. As if what he was saying had just sunk in. Suddenly, Suddenly, between clenched teeth, he hisses. Whore. You look up. Really? Huh? I thought you said something. No. He gives you a toothy grin. Suddenly, he opens the cab door. You can pull up here. I don't want to get in any trouble. The guys in the squad can be a little on edge. You park the car and he opens the door. Good night and thanks again, Ken. He gives you a smile. A moment later, he vanishes into the graffiti-covered building. Its imposing Art Deco facade mesmerizes you for a moment. And then you start the cab. Yeah, we don't get anything from him, but he's definitely jealous. You bet Bernice? So we need to look out for that face. See if we can... Met Emile? Amele? Oh, shit. Take a few minutes to update your board with new clues. Steps in the hallway. Stop in front of your door, then move away. Take your shoes off before getting to work. Okay. Then the first 3 victims were not part of the police leak. Dad was a cop, died 2 years ago. Alright. I think that's going to be the key, is the cop aspect of it. Victim number 2, fierce politician. Is that new? So his is kind of the same, with the exception of the first 3 were not part of the police leak. Victims were wealthy. And that would tie him to it. Okay. That one looks the same. Okay. Alright. Okay. Didn't get anything else. Fierce politician. Killer left 3 messages across scene. Do. I guess there's nothing else to do. Check the board. Can't do anything else. So I guess just end the night. With a heavy hand, you wipe your tired face. You slide open the sofa bed. The events of the day run through your head. The streets, the passengers, their faces, their problems. Your brain is running at full speed. Your body aches and you are in pain. You can tell you need to get more sleep. You glance at your investigation board. Your hands are shaking. You don't quite know what's happening around you anymore. For a short moment, the room around you starts to flutter. You shake your head and your mind wanders for a second. And a question comes to mind. A very odd one. So odd you need to say it out loud to be sure you're not dreaming. Was that really Santa Claus? You lie there for a moment listening to the echo of your own voice resonating around your studio apartment. The silence lulls you. Close your eyes and you can feel yourself drifting off. Until you hear a voice break out in the distance. Look, he's kicking the bucket. And then silence. Close your eyes without any idea of where the voice is coming from. A second later, you're asleep. You open one eye. You slept badly. Sometimes you're so tired you can't seem to get any rest. You'd like to understand how that's even possible. You get up quickly, and a few moments later you're outside of your studio. Night number 6. We should be contacted by the lady today. Okay. Oh, we have 2 guys. Was this the guy that was... Shoot. I'm gonna go out on a limb. Go up there. Somewhere in the street, you ran into that movie star, the one in the coffee ads. Need a ride, cabbie. Door opens. It's Herv. He greets you with his bizarre verbal tick as usual. It's getting damn cold out now. Ow. Hi, Herv. You start the engine. You look in the rearview mirror, and you realize that the homeless man is clutching his left side. Well, alrighty, Freddy. Alrighty, Freddy. Is everything okay? He gives you a vague answer. Yeah, sure, fine. A pause. He can't help making a face. Insist. You're really not looking that great. Don't worry. I got in a little fight last night with this guy. But that's all taken care of. All taken care of. He smiles, revealing a row of bad teeth. Who was the guy? He doesn't seem to understand. Why? You know a lot of bums in Clichy? Clichy? Before you can answer, all you need to know is he took something that belonged to me, and he paid the price. He closes his eyes for a moment. So yeah, he wasn't all that bad. But if you let someone steal your stuff, you're done for, sure? You have to show him you're tough, and you are a big shot. He pulls a sour smile. Sometime later, your passenger clears his throat. You wouldn't happen to have a little something to drink, would you? You know, like they do in those newfangled cabs these days. Chauffeur-driven cars? Yeah, that's right. I don't have anything. Sorry. He nods. I don't mean water, you know. You smile. I realize that. Ah. He sighs. Usually, you're not such a pain. I'm worried. He opens his mouth to say something, but stops short. Yeah, I know, man. Sorry. He gives you a black look. What does that mean? Questions, you know. I've got those things morning, noon, and night. I'm sick and tired of them. He loses himself in thought. As you drive along, you see him struggling to keep his eyes open. They are more often shut than open now. Turn up the heat. Your passenger's head jerks back up. You really are a good guy, you know. Oh. Yo. Your passenger gives you a sleepy smile. Hey. Serious. You mind? You don't mind if I get a little shut-eye on the way, do you? You nod. Enjoy. He gives you a smile, but it's still a painful grimace. Next thing you know, he's sound asleep. You continue to drive in silence, smothered by the warm air of the car heater. You pull up in front of a nondescript gray building. Your passenger immediately wakes up and looks around. Shit. This is great. I am first. Where are we? An organization that hands out clothes for winter. I heard they were going to open a new... He pauses, searching for the right word. A new shop, you could say. And I am the first one, huh? When does it open? 2 days from now. Your eyes widen. Your passenger gives a little laugh. Don't worry, I have plenty to keep me busy. He pats his pants pocket. Found some books, one on yoga, and then a book by that old handsome dude, you know, the guy who talks on the radio? It will help pass the time. He gives you a tap on the shoulder. He reaches for the door and stops short, overcome with a spasm of pain. Fuck. Are you okay? Yeah, don't worry. I'm taking you to the hospital. No, I'm good. He opens the door, climbs out gingerly. And, thanks for turning up the heat. That was nice. The next thing you know, he's disappeared down a dark side street. You sigh and start the cab. Okay, probably should stop giving him free rides. Oh my god. There's all kinds of people. Anybody flash? Alright, we're gonna go to this guy. We're cutting down. We're gonna pick people that the game is like highlighting. Let's see. I don't really see anybody else. Trip to the airport is nicer at night than during the day. Can't see all the industrial blah 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 blah. I say blah 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 only because I didn't see it. I'm too drunk to drive. Cool. You pull up in front of an address the central office gave you. A crepe. Oh, like I had a whole mess of crepes this morning. All you have to do is just really thin pancakes. You pull up to the address the central office gave you. A crepe joint. Quite a popular one by the looks of the lines spilling out the door and onto the sidewalk. You sit for a moment. The door opens and a group of 30-somethings come into view. All the men and women dressed alike. Sporty running shoes, jeans, small shoulder bags. They're officers from the Perry Anti-Crime Squad in plain clothes. You sigh. They're brutish types. Ones who like to race, tackle, clobber. Ones who ruined the afternoons you spent wandering around Perry in your teens. After a bit, one of them pulls away from the group and comes over to your taxi. He opens the door and collapses onto the back seat. He is stocky and of Asian descent. You can see his muscles through his thick winter clothes. Fucking beefcake alert. He smells like crepes and hard cider. His face is bright red. Is this me? He smells like crepes and hard cider. I like both of those things. His name is Sean. Hey, what's up? I live near Terrence. He chuckles as one of his colleagues rushes over to the taxi and pulls an imaginary gun from his coat. He points to the badge and screams at you with a big smile on his face. What a douchebag. The other cop eventually backs off and you drive away. Sorry, man. We were having a good time. What? Time is not even in that block of text. Sorry, man. We were having a going away party for a colleague and celebrating Christmas too. No worries. Passenger smiles, then puts his fingers back on his temples. Drank too much. Shit. I'm a lightweight and they know it. I think they were trying to loosen my tongue. His behavior changes abruptly, like he's just seen a ghost. One question. Yes? Do taxi drivers have some sort of policy or ethics code? Yeah, of course. He smiles. Perfect. Because I don't know who to talk to about this, and I don't know. You look like a nice guy. He takes his head in his hands. Fucking shit. I've been lying to my colleagues for years. I joined the squad 8 years ago, and they all think I'm in a relationship with a woman who lives in Strasbourg. And that we're going to get married. He makes a strange yelping noise, like an air bubble bursting on the surface of a river. You only need half of that sentence, game. He makes these strange yelping noise. End of sentence. As soon as they get too close to Strasbourg, I start making up stories. We've almost broken up 10 times. I convinced them we're trying to have a kid, but it hasn't worked yet. Like this guy over here trying to accelerate his truck. It hasn't worked yet. He sighs. Fuck. Saying it out loud is just the worst. His eyes are getting shiny. I'm gay. Okay. Cool. A deep breath. I'm getting married in a few weeks to my boyfriend. Oh, okay. Okay. This is a suspect. Another breath. Deeper. Longer. No one at work knows. Not a soul. The next sentence comes in a hush. He holds his breath the whole time. I like men. I understood that the first time you said it, writer of the game. I've always liked men. But I work in a police station and listen to their comments, to their jokes all day long. When we catch a guy who's never done time before, we tell him briefly what he should expect. We talk about violence, about the... Finally, he breathes again. I say we because I'm in on it. Because I can say blank any time of day without any prompting. The word rolls off my tongue completely naturally. Okay. He finally looks you in the eye. They're not mean. Who? He shakes his head. My colleagues. My colleagues aren't mean people. Yeah, they are. Shockingly. You're just used to their behavior. They're cops. Not mean, just doing the job. He manages to flash a tiny crooked smile. You know what I'd really like? He pauses. A big frickin' stack of crepes, I bet. I'd like to have them over for dinner. Everybody on the squad. They could see my place. We could play a board game, something normal, you know. And they could meet James. I still don't believe it. His hands are shaking visibly. It's crazy. Crazy. He smiles at last. A genuine smile. Can you believe it? We're getting married in 2 weeks. After living together for 9 years. For 9 years he's been willing to live a lie. Does he hold it against you? No. He gets how it is. He snickers. He's crazy about me and I'm crazy about him. He knows I love my job and couldn't possibly do anything else. He loves me enough to let me keep lying. He slowly shakes his head. But I can't go on like this. I have to... He freezes. Shit, my head is spinning. I don't feel so good. Why am I telling you all this? Why? He grabs onto the seat in front of him. Hey, can you pull over? You stop immediately. He opens the door and leans the top half of his body out. Oh, that's worth 22 gamer score? Why? Why, game? Why? You stop immediately. He opens the door and leans the top half of his body out. He throws up. Oh, thanks. I got that. Are you serious? That was 22 gamer score? Oh. You open your window to air out the greasy smell of fried crepes and the sour scent of cider. A moment later, the cop sits back up. Okay, I'm all set. I got it all out. You start driving again. I'm sorry. Really. Pardon me. It's alright. I hate all that. These sausage parties. Cheap alcohol. The lies. You nod while your passenger moans and quietly says, I'm sorry. Don't worry. He pauses to catch his breath. Shit, I haven't barfed like that since Easter. What are you doing on Easter? They made me drink the South African liquor. Something with cream and cocoa. Nasty. I can still picture it. I was doing shots and they shouted my name. Karate Kid. Karate Kid. Karate Kid. He seems uncomfortable. It's my nickname on the squad. Karate? Yeah, I was a judo champion. Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought it was just racist. And I'm a... What? So... He runs his hands along the side of his body like he's showcasing it for... Oh my fucking god. I'll be honest, it's starting to actually get annoying to me. So, Karate Kid. Yeah, I know. It makes no sense. It's racist. Well, yeah, a little. But at first I didn't say anything. And now, I mean, I'm used to it. Exactly. That's what they do. Ah, god damn it. Oh, come on. That's what motherfuckers like that do. They normalize their behavior so that you don't say anything. He stops suddenly. Everything is spinning again. Can you pull over? I repeat it last time. He opens the door, leans his head out, his torso, his arms. The sound makes your stomach churn, so you stare straight ahead. Can I ask you a question? More puke on the sidewalk, a little inside the vehicle. Go ahead. Fine, shoot. He sits up, prompts you to drive. Okay, so here goes. What should I do? Should I keep on keeping on? Should I confess? Should I invite them to my wedding and surprise them? He pauses. It's a long one. Be straight with me. What would you do if you were me? If you were in my shoes? I think you're being hard on yourself. You're hurting yourself rather than trying to solve the problem. You're not going to change your sexual orientation or leave your husband. So there aren't a ton of alternatives. You have to tell them. Tell them? Wow. I've got to tell them. He looks at you in the mirror. Can you take me somewhere else, if you don't mind? I don't mind. My colleagues are at a bar. I'll go see them. Tell them everything. If I don't do it now, then I'll never do it. A smile of relief spreads across his face. It's not just the alcohol talking. Yes. But I think it's about the 10th time I've gotten wasted this month. You're right. I'm hurting myself. He gives you the new address. I need to tell them now. I feel terrible. I think I'll feel better if I speak to them directly. His headache is apparently back and has knocked him out a bit. You're used to having drunk people in your cab. Actually, the majority of your Saturday night passengers are drunk. I don't know how to tell them about all of this. From the tone of his voice, you can tell he's beginning to panic. I don't think I'm ready. Should I turn around? Turn around. He scans your face, trying to figure out what you're thinking. You think that it's your decision. Good then. I want to go home. He sighs. It's not a good idea to talk to them when my blood alcohol level is so high. Thank you. The remainder of the ride is long. You can see he's having trouble sitting still. Once or twice, you sense he's about to break and change his mind. Then, nothing. He appears to calm down and remains completely still, lost in his own head. You keep an eye on the road. You have almost reached your destination. In the back seat, your passenger is almost asleep. You park in front of a small townhouse. There's a light on upstairs. He's still up. I'm going to talk to James. He looks at you. I don't really remember everything I said, but thanks. He chuckles. I hope this taxi ride wasn't just my imagination. It was, and the 22 gamer score that I got for it is imaginary as well. He pays and gets out of the taxi. You listen to his clumsy footsteps on the cobblestones. He climbs the few steps up to the door. But before he has time to find his keys, the door opens. Warm, soft light floods the street. You drive away. Alright. Who do we have here? Do we have anybody that... Anybody? Let's just go to this next guy. God dang it. I can't believe. Damn it, game. Everybody. Going to the airport. Hang on. The next passenger is waiting on the sidewalk with an enormous suitcase next to him. Out of the cab. You get out of the cab, pick up the suitcases, which must weigh 45 kilos at the very least, and put it in the trunk. Please hold. Night call. $10, $10, $30, $20, $30, $30. Looks like there's some guides for it. Did I, like, find the one? Yep. I think I got not in the car. Are you serious? There are only 2 achievements that have weird gamer scores, and I somehow managed to find one. And they're all freaking secret. So the other one's worth 43. You have to find the passenger. She needs you to tell you that lottery. Okay. God dang it. Ugh. Cool. Thanks, game. So I guess I'll have to figure that out. I wonder. So there's a person you have to find that has like white hair. Too cold to walk home. Okay, well. You get out of the cab, pick up the suitcase, measure 45 kilos, at the very least to put it in the trunk. You get back in with your passenger close on your heels. The door slams shut, you turn the key in the ignition and look up at your passenger. Charles de Gaulle, right? He nods and you start driving. It's still pretty early to be getting on a plane. You must be the type that likes to get there well ahead of time. What? You smile. Tourists always have such a magical image of Paris. There's almost no traffic, and you're able to drive at a decent speed. Behind you, in the rearview mirror, you can see the tip of the Eiffel Tower start to appear. Eiffel Tower. He smirks. His tone leads you to believe he thinks it's ugly. You don't like it? He keeps staring at you with an annoyed expression. He obviously doesn't understand. His voice is frank with a dose of exhaustion. Okay, it's Japanese. You're sure now. He imitates the sound of a plane taking off. You think you may have recognized the name of the airport? You want something to eat? He shakes his head. That's not what he wanted to hear. You hear him mumbling to himself. His voice is deep and heavy. He takes a short pause to swallow his spit. Tone of his voice makes you think he's making a list of all the things he hated. He mumbles on and on. He's made that sound before. Third time. You immediately recognize the word. Vermeil? Versailles. He bursts out laughing. He glances at you. You don't understand. You get the impression he wants you to repeat what he's saying. What? He nods. He falls back into his seat, his eyes closed. He doesn't want to speak to you anymore. Okay, I'm cool with it. You've had passengers who don't speak any French before, but this one seems furious. Maybe he didn't like Paris? Maybe he prefers Tokyo? You smile. For a second, you imagine yourself as a taxi driver in Tokyo. Businessmen, well-dressed. I don't like that sentence at all. Well-dressed high schoolers? Really? Really? That's what you're going with? Japanese mobsters? What are they called again? We'll leave them alone. Think about the movie you saw during your hospital stay. A black American soldier on the run who starts to hang out with some sort of bum who was a huge jazz fan. It was a singular movie, incredible. It made a real impression on you. The title was... No, you can't remember the title, and how could you possibly describe it to the passenger? Impossible. What a shame he can't speak his language. What a shame to not understand him, to not be able to talk to him about it. You sigh. Maybe later you'll have time to learn Japanese. It's probably hard, not the same alphabet, not the same letters, but then again, your parents could read Arabic and write in French. Could you? So you could too? Yes, later you'll have time. Yeah, sure, I'll get right on that. And then, here you are at the airport. A heap of ramps and tunnels brings you to the drop-off zone. You pull and stop and your client wakes up. He notices the airport, a few taxis, your own fatigue. He starts talking peacefully in soft words. Paris sucks, I'm fucking tired of it. He shakes his head. Okay. He pays his fare with a twinge of shame. You get out of the taxi, help him get a suitcase out of the trunk. It weighs a ton. Actually, you said it weighed 45 kilos. That's not a ton. He thanks you with a sad look of defeat. He grabs onto your sleeve as you try to get back in your car. You nod very slowly. No, thank you. He looks you over slowly from head to toe. When he starts speaking again, his voice is monotone and completely void of emotion. Something inside you resonates. Like you understood what he just said. 19. He lost someone? His wife, maybe? He looks upset. He shakes his head. He should have come with someone. If only you could understand him. He bows. When he straightens up, his eyes are misty. You don't know why, but it seems normal to reply. You're welcome. He walks away with his huge suitcase. Without looking back, your passenger goes to the airport. The sliding glass doors close behind him. You start to realize the airport is waking up all around you. A woman who must have been a Viking in another life, pushing a floor waxer across tiles in the entryway just below heating vents. Fellow driver waves as he's leaving the drop-off zone. A plane, maybe the first one of the day, appears in the sky. You get back in the taxi. For a minute, you rub your freezing hands together to warm them up. Just for a few seconds before driving off. Alright, let's see who pops up. Now we're looking to even our gamer score. God damn it. Score. I also said that very weirdly. My voice decided that it was going to cut out. Alright, we're going to make a mad dash for this gentleman down below. Okay. Hospital St. Louis, please. Your next passenger is your suspect, the retired policeman. Noise. We're going to take him right to the station. This is your man. I don't care. I'm going home. Judging by his looks, you could have easily guessed. Hospital St. Louis, please. You nod your head and start the engine. You notice right away that your passenger is cold. Very cold, in fact. He's shivering and chattering his teeth. You start driving, but keep an eye on him. Turn up the heat. He flashes a crooked smile. Not really necessary. Thanks, though. It's not cold. It's my medication. Pretty bizarre side effects. One minute I'm hot, the next I'm cold. Not much fun, really, but it's for my own good. His face says otherwise. He's not quite convinced. Actually, maybe it is the cold. It hasn't been this cold in ages. Since 1982, I think. 83, maybe. And, almost in a whisper, he adds, I killed all those people. The year of the tiger. The Chinese year of the tiger? He's smiling now, but continues shivering ever so slightly. No, the year we hunted a tiger down in Paris. Nothing to do with the Chinese. It's a really nice story, actually. Well, maybe nice isn't the right word. You'll see. And it'll get my mind off of things. He has a nervous laugh and is clearly uncomfortable, probably not used to appearing fragile. It was late December. The weather was crap. Never been so cold in my life. The water in the fountains and gutters was frozen. At the office, most of my colleagues were sick. Stuck in bed. I was sick too, but I was new, so I sucked it up. I was blowing my nose every 5 minutes. My nose was red. My breath reeked of cough syrup, or cough drops. We all looked like we were about to keel over. The switchboard phone rang and no one answered. I sighed, got up, picked up the phone. A woman screamed in my ear. A tiger! She had seen a tiger, orange and black, big as a motorcycle, run in the Rue de Bieu. I'm not sure. I burst out laughing. I told her it was a good prank and hung up. Less than a minute later, the phone rang again. The second line, too. Then the one in the chief's office. He points to different areas of the car as if he can still hear the phones ringing. A tiger. A really big one. Rue de Bieu, Rue de Saint, Rue de Beaux-Arts. Rue de Beaux-Arts. The passenger rubs his chin, seems deep in thought. We're starting to think something fishy was going on. So we gotta move on. We grabbed our coats and scarves. One of the guys from the squad called his brother-in-law who works at the zoo in Venetians. He sighs. Outside, it was snowing buckets, huge flakes the size of your gear shifter there. We were better off on foot. When we got to Saint Michel, we walked down the Croix de Gras, knocking on doors. The people we talked to wanted us to take their word for it. They swore they'd seen a tiger, and they were dead serious. We walked the streets. The snow was slowing, but only barely. He looks at you. I'm sure you're familiar with the moment in the middle of the night when Paris is completely quiet. You nod. It's incredible. The city just stops for a moment. Yeah. Well, it was just like that. An utter and total calm. Absolute silence. The team broke into pairs. We checked alleyways and passageways. But then, the neighborhood was like Swiss cheese with nooks and crannies all over. Garages built without permits. It wasn't the highbrow neighborhood it is today. He heaves a heavy sigh. He seems sad. We went into this narrow street because my partner thought he saw paw prints. And he was right. There was snow all over the dumpster, on the roof of the garage, the building's balconies. The tiger had climbed up there, so we followed. We pulled our weapons and started after the prints. Dumpster, garage, roof, balconies. My partner was huffing and puffing. Huge puffs of steam were escaping from his mouth. Your passenger snickers. He stopped and told me that we must look like our ancestors, like prehistoric men wielding flint spears. We couldn't help laughing. We knew how stupid we must look. We got up on the roof. The tiger was there. Damn, what a shock. It was a magnificent beast, almost 2 meters in size, maybe more. Took our breath away. The tiger looked at us. There was fear in his eyes. He was shaking. We realized we'd screwed up. We never should have come. It attacked us, if it attacked, we had to kill it, but neither of us wanted to kill it after seeing it. He stared at us. Paris was utterly calm. Snow as far as the eye could see. A little white skyline. And then, the passenger pauses, closes his eyes slowly. Something in his voice cracks. He jumps off the roof. It was remarkable. A moment of silence. He's still shivering. He was trying to escape? No. He didn't aim for another building or for me and my partner. He jumped into the void. He knew he'd been cornered. The passenger needs a few seconds before going back to the story. You get the impression he's still shaking as much as when he got in. Now, where was I? Oh, yeah. We leaned as far as we could off the roof to look below. It looked like he was asleep, comfortably lying in the snow. A giant orange and black spot on a feather bed. He watches the street go by. The hospital is close now. What happened next? Paperwork. Lots of paperwork. The squad really took it to heart. It was a huge blow to our morale. Like one of us had killed him. Like we'd lost one of our own. His hands go to his eyes, as if he's checking for tears. Jesus God, the writing. It was just a tiger. He closes his eyes and heaves a huge sigh. Just a tiger. You park in front of the hospital. Your passenger suddenly speaks up. His voice now sounds more confident than before. I think I'd do just what the tiger did. His death seems so calm and gentle. It can't hurt too much to fall onto a huge bed of feathers. He glances quickly at his shaking hand. In the rearview mirror, the police inspector seems oddly small. As if he'd shrunk down during the ride. Fucking Christ. Oh my God. Stop. Seriously, it can't hurt too much. He hands you his money and gets out of the cab. You watch him walk away without saying a word. The sliding doors to the entrance of the hospital take far too long to open. You drive away. I guess just go home. I don't think I got anything new that time around. I don't think I'd make it to this gas station. Well, we could try, though. Okay. Flashing lights, my bad. We read that before. The clerk behind the counter is undoubtedly the most ordinary person you've ever seen. Welcome. He sighs, beyond tired of repeating the same sentence over and over. To La Belle Pomme. Buy a newspaper. Talk with the clerk. You examine the newspaper and magazine's covers. The serial killer is on the front page of all of them. It's crazy, isn't it? You think they would have caught him by now. The clerk smiles. You recognize a twinkle in his eye. This guy has something to tell you. I hope so. Please come back soon. Clerk is in the middle of a sentence when you leave the shop. Get in your car, drive away. Alright. Oh, shoot, the movie lady. I guess we can try. I don't think we'll get there, but... maybe? Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there. Hell yeah. Saint Wynn, please. There's the one person I actually want to talk to that's not involved in the investigation. You recognize the young woman getting into your taxi. It's the young movie buff who can't stop moving, talking, thinking. Glances up, recognizes you, claps your hands excitedly. Start driving. Ah, man, I am Passenger heaves an enormous sigh. Troubled. Very troubled. Deeply troubled. Saw that movie with the ghost. Another old one, but I really wanted to see it. It's iconic. Alright, millennials. Sixth Sense, or something like that. She is categorical when she says, it's totally pointless. I mean, yeah, okay, good soundtrack, good actors, especially the kid. But it's the kind of movie where you already know what's going to happen. Everyone knows. Her voice gets progressively louder. So why keep showing it? Why sell the DVD, for fuck's sake? Very slowly. There's 2 hours of my life I won't get back. Kind of how I feel about this game. But surely, I see dead people. Shut the fuck up, stupid kid. Maybe if you see movies, maybe you see movies that are dead. Jesus. She pouts in silence. A moment of silence goes by, and her anger subsides. You glance in the rearview mirror. She's completely still. All of a sudden, you hear a little sniffle. You see a tear. Everything okay? Yeah. She sounds emotional, choked up. Doesn't seem like it. It's just, sometimes it seems like I've already seen everything, you know? It sucks. Totally fucking sucks. She sniffles. I go see a movie and I'm sure I already saw it. I mean, that one was old. Recent movies give me all the same impression. Where are all the surprises, the adventure, the magic? She looks at you. Yeah, there's that. In any case, movies don't make me dream anymore. Even when I see a good one like tonight, I thought you didn't like it. Oh, no. I did. It's just that I already knew it. I'd seen it without having seen it. She stops to think for a moment. Yes, you're right, actually. We need more magic. She heaves a sigh loud enough to make the taxi shudder. Did that make the fucking taxi shudder? She kind of sounds a lot like me, where there's a lot of older movies, and I'm like, I've seen this movie. I've never seen it, but I've seen it. Because it's referenced all the time, because movies get shoehorned into a very, like, this is a classic, so everybody watches it, so everybody copies it, and it's like, oh, cool. Great. Awesome. Yes, please, remake The Godfather for the 95th time. Movies just don't really excite me anymore. Or I hate them so much they put me in the worst mood. I want to make movies that are so cool people will leave them totally enthralled. They'll talk about a movie for hours, not because it's their favorite superhero, but because they like the color of his underwear or something. Not because it's about their favorite superhero, but a real discussion, like when you have to do for the debate team. And I mean really prepare. Really prepared, right? Not just copying the text off the internet and changing a few lines so you don't get busted. At IGN. She sighs. Shit, I'm sorry. I'm in such a bad mood. Maybe I'll read a few books. That should calm me down. Be a change of pace. A nice break. You pull up in front of the passengers building. She pays her fare and pauses, a tad embarrassed. When I think... What? When I said I think the shrink was actually a ghost, I didn't ruin the movie, did I? No worries. She looks at you pointedly for a second, then shrugs her shoulders. In any case, it's your problem if you didn't see it when it came on. She freezes. I mean, I have a good excuse at least. I wasn't born yet. She bursts out laughing. She jumps out of your cab. You watch her until she's inside the building. You drive off. Okay. Hopefully we can finish this or do something. Found out how we got a scar. Matt Perot. I may actually be... Okay. I have 34 euros. Perot threw up. He gave me 22 gamer score that I now need to figure out how to fix. He threw up again, which didn't fix it. Which would have actually been kind of funny if it was like, here's 22 and then here's 3 or something like that. Advised him to talk to his colleagues. Drop Perot off at his place. POA? I met Shinji? Yep, met him. I met Farganard. Yep, hunted a tiger. Tiger jumped off a roof and died. That was cool. Cool story, bro. Take a few minutes to update your board with new clues. The bus goes by, making the walls shake. It's time to get moving on your investigation. Do I actually have anything new? Homeless man seen around crime scenes 2 and 3. Okay. Still, there's nothing. Cool. The phone rings. You impulsively take a step back. The moment of truth. Pick up. Hello? Hi. Ice cold. So? She breathes a heavy, long sigh. There's no background noise. She must not be at the station. Where are you? For a second, you think she's going to tell you, but then... Somewhere. None of your business. A light clinking noise. The sound of a teacup on a coaster, maybe? I'm listening. What have you got for me? She clears her throat, for her voice sounds louder, more confident. You glance at the wall. The suspects are all lined up. The evidence. A whole mess of your ideas. Your stomach is in a knot. I don't have to remind you, you cannot get this wrong. I have a meeting in 2 hours with the district attorney and the chief of police. Even the Minister of the Interior will be in a corner of the room somewhere. Obviously, I'm thrilled. Oh, but I certainly don't want to put too much pressure on you. You can almost hear the smirk she must be wearing. You lay down the receiver on the table. Now you have to decide. Cool. Do I just look it up? Is there like a way to... part of the police leak. Weapon, police gun in the 70s. Weapon, rare gun used in the 70s. Weapon, kept in perfect shape by a professional. I don't think it's him. This is one that's just kind of extra, I would guess. Salim, investigating the first 3 victims. Message on crime scene 1, justice. I don't know. Something tells me it's him, but I don't know. I wonder what the answer actually is. I don't think there's like a way to like redo it. God, all cases. How to play. Judgment, chapter 1. Just gonna go. I'm gonna go with that guy. Sure. You pick the phone back up and explain your choice to Lieutenant Bisset. Why? How? The evidence? Why? How? The evidence? Your sources? She listens without saying a word. You stop talking and catch your breath. Okay. I'll buy it. Seems like a solid choice. I can fish around a bit to vet your information. She pauses. You can almost hear her nodding. I'll call you tonight. Try to get some sleep. She pauses. No way she's going to hang up on such a positive note. No, she's probably going to. It might be your last night of freedom. There it is. She snickers and hangs up. You put the phone down. You might as well be standing in ice-cold emptiness of outer space. Decide to go to bed. To sleep. The best way to kill time. The heavy hand, you wipe your tired face. The sofa bed. The events of the day run through your head. Blah, blah, blah. Alright, well, we have picked our man. Don't feel like I really... You open one eye. Had a hard night, restless. Get the impression you aged 5 years in a matter of hours. You get up quickly. A few minutes outside of your studio. Night number 7. You've barely gotten downstairs when you catch sight of Bisset. She's leaning up against the door of your cab, eyes wide open, forehead creased. Get in. You obey. It's too early to react. She settles into the back seat, flashes a smile. Good news. You're right. Or at least the DA thinks your evidence is sufficient. No emotion in her voice. She's giving you the facts. Nothing more. We're going to bring in Foganard tonight. She nods. Her expression clouds over. I have trouble. She freezes. He's a mentor. Mine. And half the squad's. You can't understand. He's an institution. She stops. Clears her throat. I need your help. One last time. Of course you do. Of course you do. Because why would you be able to ever do your own job? You have to impede my life to do your bullshit. Later on tonight, we're going to get Ferganoid to leave home and find a way to get him into your taxi. She pulls some kind of pen out of her pocket and she puts it in a little cubby above the car stereo. This is a bug. For fuck's sake. I held up my end of the deal. Our deal is just between you and me. I can always break it, go back to the DA, get you thrown in jail. She shakes her head. Listen. She takes a dramatic pause and doesn't really know where she's going. I've seen you and heard you enough to know that you have a tick, a gift for getting people to talk. I need someone I can trust to get close without making him suspicious. He's a cop. He knows how we work. No one's ever sent a taxi driver to make an arrest. He won't put up a fight. I hope he'll open up to you. Then, that he'll confess before things fall apart. Not too far from the hospital where he goes for his treatments, there's an alleyway under construction. There won't be any civilians, just us and him. She sighs. 2 teens walk by the cab, and the intense smell of weed fills the cab. Bisset doesn't budge. She's like, I sold that to him. It's fine. I know you can do it. If you stick to the plan, nothing can go wrong. And what if I don't feel like doing this? I'll throw you in jail. She rolls her eyes. Shit, I can't believe you're still looking back. Look, man, I signed a couple of forms and you go back to jail for 10 years. She snickers, the kind that makes your teeth grind. She lays her hand on the door handle. You pick the suspect up, drive to the meeting point, and you're free. Easy as pie. She gets out of the cab, slams the door, and walks quickly away. Shit, shit, shit. You hit the dashboard. Intense pain spreads throughout your hand. You grab the keys in the ignition, and turn. The motor comes on. Your night is about to begin. Your last night. Ugh. So I'm stuck actually having to have a conversation now. Can I just go to a... If I go to a gas station, does that reset things? Also, shout out to the screen tearing. Pull over and stop at a gas station, not a soul in sight. Irritate your eyes. Walk into the mini mart. I don't fucking talk with the clerk. I was wondering. You immediately bring up a serial killer. Got a new clue. Just kind of skip through, see if this fixes. It kind of does. So I wonder if I just go to gas stations or whatever. Thing is, it doesn't take that much time. Ugh. Pull over to a gas station, not a soul in sight. Barely looks at you as you leave. Get in the car, drive away. God, Am I stuck talking to these people? I don't care. I just want to know if I had got it right or not, or what I need to do for that aspect. I'm very over this game. You double park and wait for your next passenger to slide in the back seat. He looks at you like he appreciates you and your taxi. He gives you the address, or his address. You start driving. A few words are exchanged: the weather, taxes, traffic. Then you can tell it's coming. The inevitable conversation about the killer. Some bits of information, rumors, things overheard. You make a mental note of what you've heard. Who knows? Might come in handy. Your passenger doesn't make a sound for the next few minutes of the trip. Doesn't bother you. You have enough on your mind. Your investigation, the judge, Brousset. You're overcome with a craving to smoke. You nod slowly and glance at your passenger. Calm and still, he seems far away. Say nothing. Silence becomes heavy. All of a sudden, you feel a strange sense of camaraderie with your passenger. You look at him quickly in the rearview mirror. He doesn't look familiar, and yet it's like you know him. A second later, an outside light shines on his face at a weird angle. It looks like he's smiling. A few seconds later, you drive down his street. He straightens up a bit. Without a word, you park in front of the number he gave you. He pays his fare without a word. The door opens slowly, and he smiles at you. You can tell it comes from the bottom of his heart, despite how uptight he is. You're a really swell guy. You weren't expecting that. By the time you collect your thoughts, your passenger is already far away. He disappears into a building. A moment goes by before you turn the key in the ignition. Okay, so it just makes you do the one. Well, that's good. At least that part is hospital as usual. You recognize the next passenger getting into your cab. A cop. The detective. You're a suspect. He has a tired look about him, and not just because it's early. His voice drags. The usual place. St. Louis Hospital, then. You start driving. Your passenger seems to have his mind elsewhere. Not entirely awake. Stubble on his chin. You scan his skin, his movements, his attitude. It's cold as shit this morning. His voice makes you jump. You nod. You have more people or not. What? You have more people or not as many when it's cold out like this, huh? Like this? Folks tend to stay home when it's too cold. There might be more of them, but they make shorter trips. Makes sense. Dead silence. It's worse in the summertime, though. People don't take cabs as much, but when they do, they go further. Obviously. You drive in silence for a second. The road goes by. So, you a serial killer? You don't want to look at your side mirrors too often. You haven't seen a trace of cops yet. Boucher told you not to worry. But, you know, it's funny. Just this morning I was thinking about an old case. One of my first cases, actually. It was just after the Mercine case. You know who the Mercine is, don't you? Or am I really that old? God. Fat beats. You sense the time is right to get him to talk. Public enemy number one? Exactly. Public enemy number one. I joined the force a few months after his death and everybody was still talking about it. Public opinion was very divided. Did the cops murder Mercine or was it self-defense? I know the answer. They shot him down like a dog. He looks straight at you. You can see a hint of an underground fire roaring deep in his eyes. Now, I most certainly do not want to die like a dog. Understand? He catches his breath, is clearly shaken. He ever so slowly reaches into his pocket and pulls out his weapon. I did it. Where did Boucher ask you to take me? Excuse me? Don't take me for a fool. I swear, I have no idea what you're talking about. A gun appears. Shame. I thought I might just get a chance. Shame. I thought I might just get a chance at some honesty in this cold world. Just once. Just to see what it feels like. I dedicated my whole life to the justice system, to getting the truth. At least that's what I tell myself. And what I say to my new recruits. But I'm tired of all the games, all the fucking lies. Where did they order you to take me? They didn't order anything. Yeah, right. His voice sounds tired. His hand is shaking. You can't take your eyes off his weapon. But answer the question. Where? He shakes his head, saddened by your answer. Can't figure out if you're avoiding me, but I knew Boucher put you on the case and gave you a copy of the file. We don't know each other too well, eh? So I'm going to give you one last chance to tell me the truth. Boucher. You can see his finger on the trigger. It's shaking, ever so slightly. How much does she know? I don't know. The stench of gunpowder fills the cab. Your vision is blurred for a while. You can't feel your legs anymore, and a shock of heat is steaming down your spine. The taxi slows and ends up running into a parked car along the side of the road. The impact sets off its alarm. A light shower the street with its lights shower the street with red and yellow. I'm sorry. Sorry it turned out like this. You deserved better, you know. You're so focused on helping others that you forget to take care of yourself. You want to speak, but no sound comes out. I read your file, you know. What you did for your sister-in-law, taking 7 years in jail for her. He nods his head. You deserve better. Your neck muscles give out and your head collapses. Bits of the outside world make it in, but not in the right, or maybe not in the right order. The door closing. The back seat empty. A shape coming over to the cab, screaming, shouting. And just like that, darkness. Wait, was that really it? Okay, well, I figured out who it was, but didn't make it to the drop-off point. Okay. So that was Nightcall. It's fine. It's okay. It's okay. The writing's really actually just starting to get on my nerves. Every time they're like, lets out a heavy sigh, like when a cockroach falls from a sky, and you're like, oh my god, like we get it. There's a big sigh. I understand. I get it. Thank you. But it looks like it just erases your save. Like it immediately just gets rid of everything. So, there you go. So what can you do? I wonder what like free roaming is. I wonder if that's the best way to like do achievement cleanup or something. Or, you know, even out your fucking gamer score. I got really excited. That's not who it is, but... Or is it? No, it's not. Alright, well, there you go. That's Nightcall. Got 5 recent achievements here. Cool. And I have 92 out of 1,000 gamer score. Dope. 202,067. Thanks. Thanks, game. Appreciate it. There you go. That's a whole playthrough of the first case. That's all I'm going to play. I have had my fill of this game. It's fine. It's on Xbox Game Pass if you're interested. You can check it out. I think there's 2 more that you can look at that are a little more difficult. Yeah. There you go. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later.